Anyone who's ever installed heated floors will tell you the exact same thing. They'll never go back. But when you're pairing that amazing system with laminate flooring, getting the details right is absolutely everything. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the entire process, from picking the right system to dodging those costly mistakes so you can nail it on the first try. And this quote from James Miller just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's not really just about heating a room. It's about changing the whole feel of your home right from the ground up. It's that little bit of luxury that just starts your day off right. So the real question is, how do you actually make that happen without it turning into a total headache? How do you make sure your beautiful new laminate floor and that heating system are going to play nicely together? Well, that's exactly what we're about to dive into.
Okay, first up, you've got a big choice to make. Are you going with an electric system or a water system? This one decision is going to shape the entire project.
So first, let's talk about electric systems. You can almost think of these as the plug-and-play option. It's basically heating mats or cables that you just roll out right under your floor. They're amazing for a project like a single bathroom or a kitchen remodel because honestly, the installation is pretty simple and they heat up nice and fast. The only trade-off? Yeah, they can cost a bit more to run, especially if you're trying to heat a really big space.
And then on the other side of the coin, you've got hydronic systems. These are kind of the heavyweights. They work by pumping warm water through a whole network of pipes that are under your floor. Now, the installation is definitely more complex. You'll probably need a pro, but the payoff is in the long run. Their running costs are way lower, which makes them perfect for new construction or if you're heating your entire house.
So how do you choose? Well, it really just boils down to this. If you're tackling a single room and you want results fast, electric is probably your best bet. But if you're building a new home or you're playing the long game on energy efficiency, hydronic is the clear winner. It's not really about one being better, it's about what's the right fit for your specific project. Now, let's get into what is, I would argue, the most critical part of the entire job, the preparation. I really can't stress this enough. The time you spend right now before you lay a single board will 100% determine whether this project is a success. If you mess this part up, nothing else really matters. So why are we so obsessed with prep? Well, it all comes down to the way laminate behaves. It's a material that naturally expands and contracts when it gets warm or cold. So your goal isn't just to blast the floor with heat, it's to warm it up gently, evenly, and within some very strict limits so you don't cause any damage. So the most important number you need to burn into your brain is this one, 27 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the golden rule. It's the absolute maximum surface temperature your laminate floor should ever reach. Go past that and you're asking for warping and separating. This is exactly why a thermostat with a dedicated floor sensor isn't a suggestion. It's totally non-negotiable. It's your safety net. And here's another rule you just can't skip. Acclimation. You have to let those unopened boxes of laminate just sit in the room they're going to be installed in for at least 48 hours. This lets the boards get used to the room's temperature and humidity. Skipping this is such a classic rookie mistake, and it's the #1 reason you see beautiful new floors start to buckle after just a few weeks. Okay, here is your final prep checklist. First, your subfloor has to be perfectly clean, dry, and level. No exceptions. Next, you have to install insulation boards. Think of these as the unsung heroes of the whole system. They force the heat up into your room, instead of letting it just leak down into the subfloor. You also need the right kind of underlay, one that lets the heat pass through easily. And finally, and this is a big one, test the heating system before a single piece of laminate goes down. Trust me, finding a problem after the floor is installed is a complete nightmare. Okay, with our prep work totally locked in, it's time for the main event, the installation itself. Let's walk through a quick guide for both electric and hydronic systems. For an electric system, the process is pretty straightforward actually. You map out your layout, put down your insulation, and then you just roll out the heating mats. Now here's a key tip. When you get to a corner and need to change direction, you cut the mesh backing, but you never, ever cut the heating wire itself. Once the mats are down and that little sensor is in place, you do that all-important resistance test with a multimeter before you finally start laying your laminate. Now with a water-based system, things are a bit more involved. It all starts with a really detailed plan for how you're going to lay out the pipes. Then you secure all those pipes in nice, even loops on top of the insulation panels. Connecting everything to the manifold, well, that's a pretty complex step, and it's often where you want to call in a professional plumber. And just like the electric system, there's a critical test, a pressure test, to make absolutely sure there are no leaks before you even think about covering it all up. All right, we've covered how to do it right, so now
let's talk about what not to do, because knowing the common traps is just as important as knowing the right steps. This is the pro's guide to saving yourself from some major headaches. And this really is the bottom line, isn't it? Get it right, and you've got this incredible comfort for years to come. But just one little mistake, like forgetting the insulation or turning the heat on too soon, can turn that dream floor into a nightmare of warped boards and, well, really expensive repairs. Let's just run through the top installation blunders we see all the time. Number 1, skipping the insulation. You'll just end up paying to heat your foundation, not your room. 2, using the wrong underlay, one that actually traps the heat and can cook your floor. 3, forgetting that 10mm expansion gap around the edge of the room. I guarantee you, this will lead to a buckled floor. And finally, just being impatient. You have to wait 48 hours after you finish before turning the system on. And even then, you have to ramp up the heat slowly, no more than about 5 degrees Celsius per day.
So all of this brings us to that final crucial question. Is this something you can DIY, or is it time to call in a professional? Let's break down how to make that call.
Look, here's the deal. An electric system can be a really satisfying DIY project, but only if you are super detail-oriented. And this is key. You hire a licensed electrician for the final electrical hookup. But for a hydronic system that involves a lot of complex plumbing, or really, if you're ever in doubt about any of it, just calling a professional is always the smartest move. It's about your peace of mind and making sure the job is done safely and correctly.
And there you have it, the complete blueprint for putting in underfloor heating beneath your laminate flooring. We've gone over how to choose a system, the absolutely critical prep work, and the big mistakes you need to avoid. So the only question left is, are you ready to bring this incredible comfort into your own home?